Okay, so there's an assemblyman out of San Diego who's a very good friend of San Diego County Gun Owners and Gun Owners Radio. And we had a conversation a few days. Something very interesting happened. If you haven't seen it, there is a podcast called the Sean Ryan Podcast. He interviewed California Governor Gavin Newsom. And one of the things that the Sean Ryan podcast does is he gives each guest a gift. Well, he gave Gavin Newsom a gift, and it led to a conversation with Carl DeMaio that I had, pointing out that I don't know how he's going to receive this gift. I don't know if Gavin Newsom can receive a gift like this because of Gavin Newsom. So, without further ado, Carl DeMaio released this statement today. Gavin Newsom prevented from accepting gun gift by Gavin Newsom. Assemblymember Carl DeMaio requests intervention of federal and state law enforcement to help the governor to comply with own draconian gun laws. California State Assemblyman Carl DeMaio is offering to help Governor Gavin Newsom to avoid criminal prosecution by formally asking U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi and California Attorney General Rob Bonta to provide legal advice to the governor on how to fully comply with the convoluted and draconian gun laws that he has signed into effect. Quote, it would be an absolute shame if Governor Gavin Newsom inadvertently violated one of his anti-gun laws. But the extraordinary hassle he now faces proves not only that he is a hypocrite, but that the draconian gun laws he imposed on regular Californians should be scrapped, DeMaio said. The controversy over the gun gift started when Newsom appeared on the Sean Ryan podcast, and the host gifted the governor a Sig Sauer P365X macro. On the show, Newsom appeared to accept the firearm and even claimed he is, quote, not anti-gun. But DeMaio's office has now learned that off camera, Newsom rejected the gift because of compliance rules and left the firearm behind in Tennessee. Newsom's team has since admitted that the California anti-gun laws are so complicated that they have had to hire legal counsel to conduct a legal review. DeMaio questions whether the governor will ever actually follow through in legally accepting it. DeMaio thinks that Governor Gavin Newsom should get the very best legal advice, which is why DeMaio has sent a letter for Bondi and Bonta urging them to help Gavin Newsom comply with the complicated anti-gun laws he has imposed on California. Quote, first, they'll need a background check, a firearm safety certificate, a DROS submission, a 10-day waiting period, a safe storage affidavit, and don't forget the special taxes, DeMaio quipped. And that's before figuring out how to actually get the gun into California without committing a felony under his own rules, DeMaio added. I'm asking for the full weight of the DOJ to guide the governor through the painful bureaucratic maze he built, because let's be honest, he needs the help to navigate the mess he created, DeMaio said. I love this so much. I am a little bit warm and fuzzy and even a little gooey inside, right where in that place in my chest where people claim their heart to be. It is making me so happy that this guy had to squirm. I got to be honest. I watched most of the interview with Sean Ryan, and I was fairly unhappy with the way Sean Ryan conducted the interview. I thought it was way too soft. Mm-hmm. As much as Sean Ryan, talks a big game about horrible politicians, he had just about the worst on his podcast, and was practically schoolgirl giddy with how buddy he was with the governor. Now, I don't think he should be rude or mean or whatever, but man, hold him to account in some way. I mean, at least pretend the guy's, bad, but no, it was like a kind of a bromance love fest. I got to be honest. I thought it was a really horrible interview, but the genius, whether it was either purpose or inadvertent, the genius of gifting him a gun and saying, here, take this back to your state, was perfect, and it really, really, truly shows just how bad these gun laws are. These gun laws in California some on the federal, but mostly these are California gun laws that he can't comply with. It's preventing the governor of the state of California from accepting the gift of a firearm or even figuring out how to navigate this gift into the state of California so that he can have it and protect himself or shoot as a hobby or do whatever he wants. And there's just no case to be made that we are a safer state because the governor can't accept a commonly owned firearm, as a gift and bring it into the state, that it is such a catastrophic failure that he can't even get this firearm into his state. Now, during the interview, Newsom actually joked, oh, well, TSA is going to, find this and question me or whatever. Mm-hmm. So he clearly was planning on bringing this thing back to the state of California. But again, the plethora of horrible laws preventing the governor from doing something completely normal, like accepting a gift, like owning a firearm, like bringing a firearm back to California, his home, preventing him from doing completely normal things. The whole situation is so asinine. It is such a blow up in Governor Newsom's face. And let's be clear, many of the laws that prevented him from doing something completely normal, like accepting a firearm and bringing it back to the state of California for his legal use. These were laws that he signed into law. They were laws that he has defended and is very vocal about. In fact, he calls them gun safety laws and talks about how successful they are as far as keeping dangerous people from obtaining firearms. So I don't know. I'm just using the transitive property here. Does that make him a dangerous person because it's keeping him from obtaining this firearm? I don't know. I wasn't really good in math. Maybe that's not the wrong property to use. But the point here is this is such a ridiculous joke. It has blown up so hard in Gavin Newsom's face. And I can't thank Carl DeMaio enough for standing up and saying, hey, you know what? This is absolutely an opportunity to show what a charade this is and what kabuki theater these gun safety laws are. So thank you so much, Carl. I'm glad you did it. I'm glad you uncovered the fact that he wasn't even able to bring this firearm back into the state of California. So thank you for doing that. What do you guys think of that? What do you think of our breaking news?
I love it.
It also made me feel warm and fuzzy inside.
Absolutely. Who didn't feel the warm fuzzies? Absolutely. It's the irony.
Yes.
All I got to say.
Yeah. Well, and it's like Newsom's not a dumb guy. So the fact that he had to hire legal counsel because he couldn't even figure it out is hilarious to me. I can imagine the conversation between him and his people when he got off of the podcast. They're trying to figure out like, okay, wait, like, should we run this by legal? What do we need to do? They don't even know their own laws. Mm-hmm. Cracks me up. I will say I'm a little disappointed that he didn't bring it back with him because that would have been really funny if he had actually violated his own laws in the process.
Well, and that's true. And I mean, it's fun and funny and we're having fun and we should poke at how ridiculous this is. But you're right. I mean, he's the governor of the state of California. And had he just simply followed through with what he was trying to do, live the life he envisioned for himself, which was simply taking a gift back to California, his entire life could have been ruined. He could have been a felon. It could have wound up in jail. He would have ended up being a prohibited person. And this is serious stuff. And we're not even talking about the fact that, hey, this is preventing people, these laws are preventing people from being able to defend themselves. That's one thing. The other thing is, these are bear traps that normal, sane, trained, law-abiding, peaceable people are falling into, and it's ruining their life forever. So I'm glad he got a small taste of his medicine, but I encourage everyone, we can't let this thing end here. We got to talk about this from here till, kingdom come, because this was an important development. Again, thank you, Carl, for doing this.
Mm-hmm. I wonder, the fact that he had to hire legal counsel, could this be a key point in some lawsuit in the future to where this just shows, because I know that they've made the statement that the laws are simple to understand, right? Could this show the fact that he had to go to this length to show that it's not an attainable, reasonable thing for, that makes it outside the scope of what the average person may be able to afford to do. Therefore, it's an infringement.
Well, and he's got a whole legal team because he's the governor.
Right.
So it wasn't a big deal for him to just say, "Oh, let's run this by the legal office." But for
He would not say that, yeah.
for normal people, like I don't have that kind of access. I don't have an attorney on retainer just like hanging out waiting to answer my questions.
You don't have a legal team just hanging out with you?
Well, we have
I
USCCA, right? But,
Well, sure.
but
Yeah.
that's not the same thing as a whole legal team, right?
Yeah. All right. Well, awesome. We're going to continue to talk about this. We might talk about this in every show for the rest of 2025. I'm so happy this happened. Hey, thanks for watching Gun Owners Radio. I hope you loved that clip. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and follow us on social media. And check out our website at gunownersradio.com.